Welcome to episode 3 of Laker Connections right here on WTOP10. I'm Jared Wakefield.
And I'm Thomas Turgeon.
With all of that aside, Thomas, we've got a whole lot of sports going on. Birthday boy, I don't mean to toot my own horn too much, but
Bravo.
As we move into the week ahead here in Laker sports, the week behind, holy cow, I'm all over the place today. Thomas, how about you take me back to when I was 19?
All right, let's make things realistic here. We kick things off with Toby Runs and Company, where the Lakers entered this past weekend, winning 11 games in a row, going into the road trip against Brockport and Geneseo. The Lakers would not fare well against the Golden Eagles and Knights as they received their first loss Friday since September 13th against the Cortland Red Dragons. Jared, I hate to say I told you so, but
Wow.
I told you this would be the
there.
weekend where it is show-up time. I'm telling you, this was the weekend.
Yeah, and it certainly was. It's a tough one for volleyball, one of the longest winning streaks in program history, especially recently, and it just didn't go well. It just did not work, especially against Brockport. They lost that first set heartbreaking fashion, 28-26 in extra rallies, 25-21, 25-18 to end those sets. Look at the full screen. Brockport, they swept there. Kills were even, though Brockport led in aces, and that ended up being the X factor in that game. Again, the Geneseo game so close. Oswego dropped the first two sets, rallied to take sets 3 and 4, and then Geneseo absolutely stuffed the Lakers to the bottom of the lake, 15-9 in that fifth set. Oswego led kills 52-51. Carson Policio had a really good game against Geneseo, 15 kills, 3 aces. Corbin, 10 digs, 42 assists. They did everything right against Geneseo. It just didn't work.
Yeah, and this was definitely a loss you didn't want to have. Buffalo State now holds the lead over Oswego in the volleyball rankings, and Geneseo holds that tiebreaker now. So Oswego really digging themselves a hole, dropping those 2 losses this weekend. In 2 games to get up, they're currently at 5 games so far. But you talk about Oswego, their volleyball team, they've succeeded so far this season with Toby Renz, but I think they finally got really, in a way, back down to ground level.
Yeah, I think we've sort of reached the pinnacle of their progress so far, so to speak. They played really well this year. This year has certainly been an improvement on the court. They definitely passed the eye test. The stats show it too. It just didn't work out this weekend. But let's take a look now at women's soccer. The Lakers opened the week on Saturday with a tough loss to the Plattsburgh State Cardinals. The Lakers brought the Buffalo State Bengals to the turf on Wednesday looking for a win, but could only tie with a final score of 0-0. Thomas, I don't know what stat sums up this week for women's soccer better than this. Oswego State outshot Buffalo State in shots on goal by 16-0. 16-0. Thomas, what happened?
I really do not know what to understand, but it was a successful week for wildlife, to say the least. We don't know if a Laker is a person or if it's a plant or an individual or an animal. We don't know. But regardless, Cardinals and Bengals get away with this one. Oswego gets 1 point out of that Buffalo State game. And you say shots on goal 16-0. 37-5 shots in total. No disrespect to the goaltender for Buffalo, Isabel Veen, but Oswego needs to win this game. I don't understand, and they're in a tough spot now. It was a physical game. There was 1 point at the beginning of the game, or at the end of the game rather, where Lugia Soreo, it's actually right there on your screen right now, where she just completely levels this girl, and it was a physical contest. Plattsburgh, Oswego couldn't get really shots on goal in this one. I think it was an opposite of 2 games.
It's just the stats here are insane. In that Plattsburgh game, looking at that game, 17-6 shots for Plattsburgh. Oswego, we've seen offense out of them all year, and Perry Anderson, credit to her, she had a good performance, pitched a shutout against Buff State, did pretty well, 6 saves on the day against Plattsburgh, but Oswego needs to shoot the ball. They had 9 corner kicks against Buff State. That's a prime offensive opportunity, and whatever happened this weekend, whatever was in the weather and the water, it just didn't work. Maybe some dirt from Dirt Week, I don't know.
Weather and water and maybe Dirt Week beyond recognition, I don't know. They just need to score, and that just really bothers me. But either way, we'll move lastly to men's soccer, where the Lakers would follow the Cardinals of Plattsburgh as well on Saturday before going to Buffalo State and finally capturing a victory by the same score of 2-1. The Lakers now 2-1-1 in their last 4 SUNYAC games. But Jared, is it too late for Dan Cannon football boys? They got only 3 games left.
I'm not sure. I mean, this soccer team, we really never know what to expect. Last year they went all the way to the SUNYAC championship game. They were good, but how about Kieran Gilroy? I mean, he's been phenomenal for them all year. A midi, 7 goals, 1 assist, 12 shots on goal this week. Did really well. Plattsburgh State, Ryan Young and Liam Rother strike first for Oswego. Plattsburgh scores 2 in the final 25 minutes. 5 yellow cards for Oswego in this game. 4 for Plattsburgh. 9 on 4 shots in favor of Plattsburgh. 7 saves for Bourjuli. So, a solid game there. Buff State, Oswego outshot by Buff State, 16-8, 5-3. Matt Darpino steps in net, 4 saves for him. Gilroy and Rother bury shots. That's a good bounce back win. They really needed that win. And, with 3 games left, they got some tough opponents coming up, but at least things are looking in the right direction. If you look back to last year, Thomas, we're kind of in the same position with this team as we were last year.
Yeah, most definitely. And Oneonta and New Paltz coming in their final next 2 games. But you talk about Kieran Gilroy being really essential for this Laker offense, who did struggle last year. And the one thing that I have to stress, though, this team hasn't been able to close out a full 90 minutes of play. I mean, you think about it, that Plattsburgh game, they had the lead at half. Did they win? No. You go to Buff State, you get the 2 goals, but they scored 10 minutes later after they scored 2 in the first minute. So they're allowing these teams to claw back into it. Geneseo, another perfect example. You had the lead twice. You blew it again. You get a tie. You only get 1 point, and it's not beneficial in the standings for this team.
And to wrap up on that as well, they've been getting a lot of cards, too. They got dual red cards against Buff State and yellow cards as well. We're done kicking it in the past, so we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll pull the maps out and take a look at what's up next for Laker Sports.
You quit smoking and thought, that's that. But here's the thing about lung cancer. By the time you see the symptoms, it could be too late. But now, there's a new scan that can detect lung cancer early, when it's more curable. If you smoked, get scanned. Talk to your doctor or learn more at savedbythescan.org.
Good evening and welcome to WTOP 10 Nightly News.
Total, Baldwin faces 32 charges.
Saturday, I went to Woodchuck Saloon.
Too much temperature change.
13-10 meteorologist.
2 as well.
Visions for Tanner Spink.
Go to 2-1.
2 with 6 and 10 on the year.
One in 3 adults has pre-diabetes. That means it could be you. Your barber. Your barber's barber.
Nice work. Thanks.
With early diagnosis, pre-diabetes can be reversed. Take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Welcome back to Laker Connections, the main source for Oswego sports right here on WTOP. Well, Jared, we've talked about the past. Now let's get into our future canoe and paddle our way into the present and near the future for Oswego Athletics. Let's kick things off. Jared, take it away.
Well, let me get in the canoe, get the paddles up, and as they say around 2 a.m. in Oswego, it's almost closing time for the Oswego State men's soccer team. The soccer squad will hit the road headed southeast for a road matchup against the Oneonta Red Dragons in their only game of the week. Thomas, the Lakers currently sit as the final team in this year's SUNYAC's men's soccer playoffs, but to hold that spot over Geneseo, they're going to need to beat or tie tough squads like Oneonta.
I wouldn't even say tie. I think they just straight up have to win. I mean, right now, you look at this team, they struggled against Oneonta. They haven't won in regulation since 1965. The only time they beat them prior to that was last year in the playoffs where they won on a PK that got them to the semifinal against New Paltz. So needless to say, Oneonta is definitely not going to be an easy dragon to slay. They're 8-2-2 right now and 5-1-1 on home turf this year. Definitely a challenge for the Lakers going down to the Dragons' Den.
You know, this Oswego State men's soccer team reminds me a little bit of like a hornet's nest in the yard. You don't notice it until you run it over the lawnmower come playoffs time, and then the hornets are all over you and it's a mess. This Oswego team, sleeper in the playoffs last year. Nobody expected them to have a run to the championship match. They did that. They're going to pester teams like Oneonta, Geneseo, and Brockport and continue to do so as we get close to the playoffs.
Pester, is that much like a B reference again? Because
they're like buzzing around you.
Okay.
You know, they're like going to sting you. They're being annoying. I don't know.
Listen, either way, this is a team that Oswego needs to beat. They're currently in that 6th spot, as you mentioned. I don't really think they can afford another loss or a tie.
No.
And if they do that, I think they're really in a tough spot because not only do you need help from yourself, you need help from other teams, and you do not want to be dependent on that second one.
If there's one shining light here to wrap up, you know, this Oneonta team has only lost to Brockport, Geneseo, and they tied Potsdam. Teams that Oswego's done pretty well so far this year.
Most definitely so. But keeping it going with some women's soccer now, where it will be senior day on Saturday when the Oneonta Red Dragons come to town to stomp out 6 seniors special day. Oswego will then go on the road to face Fredonia on Wednesday, a team who they have not beaten since 2017. Jared, the Lakers have some ground to make up in the SUNYAC, but is this the end for this team for a playoff run?
I don't think so. You know, Oswego's 5th right now. You know, they're kind of trying to hang on to that final playoff spot. They are grabbing it, and I imagine that they're going to hold on to it right until the very end. This Oneonta team that's coming in, you know, they're struggling a little bit too. Their last 2 SUNYAC games, they lost them to Plattsburgh and Oneonta. Big game for Oswego to rebound and get some goals. They're 8-28-2 all time, 0-9-1 last 10, 5-12-2 at home. You can see some of the class of 2023 right here. Andrea Hernandez, Phyllis Reed, Emily Applegate, Gracia Madden. That's going to be a big loss for them next year. Maggie Riordan and Olivia Williams. For Madden, really there, you know, she'll be a big loss. She's been a contributor to this team in a big way this year. On the Fredonia side, you know, 1-1 ties the last 2 contests, but Fredonia 0-4-2 in conference. They're going to face Plattsburgh on Saturday before they come to Oswego Wednesday. Another chance for Oswego to rebound.
Definitely another chance for Oswego to rebound. Oneonta, another team that has struggled. So if you're Oswego, you got to get 2 wins here. Oneonta, 2-8-1 so far, and their 2 wins are on the road. So Oswego's got to be careful for that because they like to win on the road. That's the only 2 wins they have all season. As for Fredonia, Oswego hasn't won since 2017, but Fredonia has struggled because they're 2-6-4 this season and 0-4-2 in conference play. Either way, a must-win for the Lakers.
Absolutely. A big week coming up for Oswego women's soccer. Sticking to the turf now, the Oswego State field hockey team only has 3 matchups left on the year. This week they'll battle SUNY Brockport, a team that is only 1-2 in the conference this year. And Thomas, it's do or die this weekend for Oswego. Despite a 7-6 overall record, the Lakers are 0-3 in conference. If they want any chance to take one of the 4 playoff spots, they need to beat Brockport.
I don't even say that. I say they have to win all of them. I mean, you look at these 2 teams right now. Brockport, they've had success against. They won last year in a shootout on the road. They're coming here this Saturday. Geneseo, on the other hand, that's a different one. 2-22 all time. Last 10, they're 1-9. They're on a 3-game losing streak. It's not good. And Oswego outscoring their opponents 10-1 in the last 3 games and 54-10 in their regular season.
And you know, Brockport in a similar situation. They're 1 spot out of the playoffs, so they're going to come into play Oswego looking to try and get in and try to jump over the Red Dragons and try to take that spot away. And like you said, Oswego really needs to win these games. I think Brockport's a team that could beat Geneseo. They're leading the conference right now. I don't know. But they've got Morrisville to end the year. And you know, Brockport's already seen Morrisville as well. And Morrisville has really struggled this year. They are struggling there. So if Oswego can pull off a miracle against Geneseo, get close against Brockport, and beat Morrisville, they're in good shape.
Whether it's hockey, ice hockey, or field hockey, they're going to need some help. But coming up next is my personal favorite topic as we say hello to the Deb for the Wheelhouse Wire right here on WTOP 10. We'll be right back.
Each year, there are more than a dozen significant tropical and winter storms that threaten the East Coast. So chances are there will be more hurricanes and blizzards near here again. And between school, sports, and social lives, chances are you won't be with your kids when it happens. Will they know what to do? Ready.gov/kids has all the educational tools and information to make the conversation easy. When the time comes, chances are they'll feel prepared, not scared. So talk with your family today.
Welcome back to Laker Connections, and Jared, it is finally hockey season, and they get a matchup that I find rather interesting for men's hockey as we start things off, as they get a matchup with the Stevenson Mustangs to open up exhibition play.
Boy, what an interesting one this is, right? I mean, you look at a team like Stevenson, and, we've never played this team. So this is an interesting X factor for Oswego coming in. But Stevenson, they're not a joke. They've received votes in the poll, the USCHO poll coming in. They received votes last year. They play in the UCHC, a very top-heavy conference with teams like Utica really dominating that conference, Wilkes as well. So this is going to be very interesting, Thomas. An interesting team coming to the Deb for the first time.
It's a definitely interesting team. We talk about Oswego this year alone, going in against Stevenson. I mean, you talk about it. They both had the exact same record, literally exact same at 18-7-1. Granted, Stevenson didn't have the COVID cancellations. Oswego did, and Oswego went a little farther in the SUNYAC. Stevenson, on the other hand, they dropped to Manhattanville in the quarterfinal.
Yeah, and like I said, the UCHC, like I said, top-heavy conference. You've got Utica, Wilkes, Stevenson, not much below that. You got teams like Arcadia and Alvernia. They're not bad teams per se, but already on the level of the SUNYAC. Like in the SUNYAC, you've got Oswego, you've got Geneseo, you've got Cortland, you've got Brockport. So you've got some really tough teams. Problem for Stevenson, it's been penalties so far. They're taking about 2.5 more penalty minutes on average than Oswego.
It's definitely going to be an interesting one involving the young classmen coming into this game. But we'll talk about not only just their matchup this weekend, but we'll talk about their matchups for the future. Let's move in the season as a whole, and it's definitely going to be a huge test for the Lakers in terms of overall schedule.
Oh, what a phenomenal schedule this year has been put together. Obviously, we're starting off the weekend just like we did last year. We've got Hobart and Elmira. This year, we're on the road in the cooler, one of the coldest rinks in D3 hockey, and ODR with a pole barn on top of it. And then you've got Elmira at home, and look at the rankings. Hobart number 5, Elmira number 9. If you can get a win over one of those teams to start your weekend, that's good, especially with Elmira being a teal game.
And you get Elmira, Hobart, you get Wilkes in November. Skidmore was on the voting on the outside. They're going down to a tournament in November with Wilkes being there. That's going to be the competition. They got Utica in December. Not even talking about Geneseo. You get them twice whether you like it or not. Not to mention you kind of, maybe, sort of, kind of, I don't know. They might on New Year's Eve get the national champions here at the Deb. So I'm excited for that one. Granted, if everything positive happens for the Lakers, it's going to be ready to go.
One thing to know, number 3 Utica, they're on the road in the odd teddy bear toss. That night always sells out. Going to be a tough crowd to play in front of. But speaking of schedules, Thomas, the Oswego women's hockey program has one of their toughest schedules ever. They'll start off the season against the talented London Junior Devilettes and number 7 Nazareth College in preseason play. And we're not even at the regular season yet, and they've got a whole host of ranked opponents.
They have so many. I feel like Digby and Gosick really collaborated on their schedules. I mean, we look at the rankings right now. Oswego was getting votes there figuratively in that 17 spot. Look who knocked them out, though. Cortland sitting at 13, Plattsburgh sitting at 3. So if you talk about this, you get Nazareth on an exhibition, you get Hamilton, who's in that poll, you get Amherst, who's in that poll. I'd really braid fart there. Yeah. But, either way, a lot of quality competition for this Lakers women's hockey team.
So much competition. Another team on there as well. You've got Utica University. They received votes. So that Utica team came in last
16.
year. They beat Oswego. Yeah, you could say arguably they're about the 16. So they're going to be a really good program. But let's take a look at their first opponent in the preseason, Thomas. As Travis Scott would say, they're meeting at the London, or in this case, the London Junior Devilettes. This is a team that head coach Mark Digby has high praise for, and it'll be a really good early test for the Lakers.
It's going to be a huge test, and Coach Digby was talking about it this week. You look at this team, and they have, I want to say he said they have about 6 or 7 girls on this team that are on the Canadian national team for either 18U or 20U. I can't remember. I can't remember anything anymore, it seems. But either way, the last time they played was in the 2019-20 season, 0-4 loss for the Lakers in exhibition. But keynote, it was first game Digby was on the bench for women's hockey. His first time behind the bench. He was an associate at that point, and then he actually ended up taking the reins after that.
And as we discussed earlier today, a lot of program changes came with Digby, changes to the recruiting process, changes to the way they played. So it's going to be interesting to see, still some roster moves to be figured out yet. We'll see where the players like Kenzie Malone fit in. Malone expected to be a big scorer. It's interesting to see. But that's all the hollering about hockey this week in the Wheelhouse Wire. When we come back, Bubba and myself will battle it out in this week's edition of Laker Showdown right here on Laker Connections.
What would happen if I had to pick up the phone, call 911 for one of my family members or one of my neighbors? What would I do if no one was on the other end to respond? What if there was no 911? So you can be a part of the solution.
Anybody can be a firefighter. Male, female, younger, older.
We have school teachers. We have leaders in business.
Is me, you, anyone that wants to be. There is no typical firefighter.
Here at WTOP, we pride ourselves on delivering you all the news you need to know from the day's events.
Whether it's happened on Capitol Hill or right here in Oswego,
we make sure you know all about it. We keep you up to date on all your favorite
Oswego and professional sports.
And our Storm Team 10 meteorologist will make sure that you know exactly what weather you're up against when you start your day.
Every Monday through Thursday night, make sure to tune in to Channel 10.2, because at WTOP, we don't just tell you the news.
We are
the news.
My mother was always very familiar with her neighborhood, but one day she stopped at the stop sign for much longer than usual. And she didn't know whether she should go forward or turn, and she wasn't even really sure where she was at. It was very unsettling for her.
I felt so much better after my son told me, Mom, I don't want you to worry or be afraid. I'll be there for you and we'll figure it out.
Opioid dependence can happen after just 5 days. Know the truth, spread the truth.
Welcome back to Laker Connections. I'm your moderator, Tommy Tellerino, and it's now time for everyone's favorite segment, Laker Showdown. For those of you who don't know the rules, it's pretty simple. Turge and Wakefield will have around 30 seconds each to answer my 3 questions I ask. Let's get started.
I'm 1-0 so far, so
Shut
that's
up.
completely fine.
Start talking.
Last season, the women's hockey team went 16-8-1 on the year and 13-4-1 in the new HL. Unfortunately, their season ended in the semifinal of the conference playoffs with a 1-0 loss to Cortland on their home ice. After losing around 4 key players, can they still make a run at the new HL championship? I'll have Turge start this one off since he.
I thought
he had some
we were
comments,
talking
right?
about the over/under on this. Are we talking about over/under in wins, right?
Yeah.
Something like okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Not betting.
Where are we at? Over 15? Over 15. Over 15. I think it's going to be definitely over. And the reason why I say this is a lot of their games last year didn't get played. They didn't play Hamilton. They didn't play Utica. They didn't play Stevens. Actually, they did play Utica. They didn't play Stevenson. Either way, I think it's going to be an over because William Smith, they lost. They should have won both of those games really dominantly. But Adrian, it's the same way. I think it's going to be a sweep.
Okay.
I don't think so. And, I have a lot of confidence in this women's hockey team. This is going to be a good team that's going to get ranked at some point this year. They're going to go far in the new HL finals. But, man, this is such a tough schedule. You got Plattsburgh 3 times. I mean, obviously last year. Cortland, you've got them 3 times again. And I think this year they are better than they were last year. Plus, Amherst, that game got COVIDed out last year. You've got Adrian coming here for a double set to start the year. You've got Utica, who could be ranked too. And you've got Hamilton in their barn on the hill in Clinton. I mean, this is a tough one. This is not a lack of faith. I'm just not sure. I think let's pull the horses. They'll be even or a little under.
But wait,
come on!
No, because you're saying they're going to be ranked. How are they going to be ranked without those wins?
All right.
I don't.
We've heard enough.
I just don't. I don't know.
I gotta go with Wakefield on this one. I think he's right here.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
This is the validation I needed.
This is ridiculous.
You're ridiculous.
I know I am.
Right now, the Oswego field hockey team
he's
is
got the
currently
ding. He gets the ding.
0-3 in the conference and is 6th place in the SUNYAC. They have 3 games left against Brockport, Geneseo, and Morrisville. In order to make the playoffs, they need to be at least a 4 seed. Gentlemen, can they make the playoff push? I'll have Wakefield start this one.
All right.
Of course.
I hate to continue to be the Debbie Downer.
Wow.
No. I'm sorry. Field hockey has made great strides this year. They're 7-6. They're improving. This year's not the year. They need 2 wins at minimum. And even then, it's still up to the big man upstairs, if he's upstairs, to figure it out and put. Yes. Thanks, Captain Obvious. God. It's up to God if they win 2. Because then they need another team to lose.
Phil Swift.
They need another team to lose. I think they can beat Rockport. They should beat Morrisville. Geneseo, they're leading the conference. I don't know. I don't know.
I'm not good at parlays. But
you lost your parlay tonight.
Hey, we don't talk about that.
We won't.
No, we don't talk about that. Yes, it is possible. They're going to need help, though. I think it's completely possible. They can beat Oya. Either way, Morrisville should be a win. Brockport, they need to win. And Geneseo, they need to win. They need to pull out the brooms and sweep their way through the rest of their schedule, much like I'm probably going to get swept out of this Lakers showdown. But you know what?
Gonna need a big broom.
I'm going to need a really big broom.
You're going to need a massive broom.
I'm going to need the push broom out of that storage closet
this
right there.
whole studio in one fell swoop.
It wasn't like I did that a couple.
Cameras off.
It wasn't like I didn't do that last week with Lake Night, where Shetler, you're welcome.
You might as well have a hand broom with that.
I already have a hand broom. Listen, I just
You're not good now.
Just get the dustpan.
All right, you brought up your parlays, and that's just an L in general. I gotta go with Wakefield on this
one. Fine. It's cool.
Anytime you talk about your parlays,
come on, Bubba's blunders.
It is a blunder.
First the Sigma game, now the parlay.
No. We got fantasy. We got fantasy. We got
one more.
Give me the question.
We gotta go.
The men's hockey season starts this Saturday with their home opener against Stevenson at 5. After their press conference, Coach Gosek made it known that the D1 transfers have looked good, along with the returning players. With that said, which player do you guys think will stand out the most this Saturday? I'll have Turd start this one out.
Thank you. At least give me some respect. I'm down 2-0. It's like, oh my God. Either way, I'm going to go with the hometown kid. D1 transfer coming in from Holy Cross, Daniel Colabufo. Size was not the issue last year. It was definitely not size. It was speed, and you need speed to win in this game now. I mean, you look at Geneseo, they were faster than fast, and I just can't help myself. The hometown kid, West Geneseo, like 40 seconds, I'm rolling in my chair, but it's okay. His speed is really good, and he's got a really hard shot with a quick release, so that's exactly what you need if you're Coach Gosek. I don't care. Listen, I will scream, okay?
Come on! Listen
to me. You know what, Terrence? I'm even going to give you some credit. So how about you look at me? How about you give me some respect? Okay, so, listen. I think Colabufo is going to be great this year, but Jones is going to even be better. Last year, he started to break out. Connor Sleeth, the man. He was on that line with Alex DiCarlo and Travis Broman. 6 goals, 16-6, 22 points, plus 10. Proven player at the D3 level. Flashy goals. He had that snipe from the dots in last year's Teal game against Cortland. He is due to break out of the year of college hockey in this case. And if he's with DiCarlo, he's going to be phenomenal.
That was in November,
Sleeth will be spectacular.
You mentioned the Cortland game.
Spectacular.
All right, gentlemen.
Spectacular.
I really don't understand.
There's going to be no brooms in this one. I got to go with Turner.
Yes!
Okay.
Thank you.
That's fair.
Give me the hometown team. I'm telling you what. I mean, either way, these are guys that you're going to look to regardless, whoever it is, whether it's Colabufo, whether it's Fudger, whether if it's really any guy. But, the list goes on and on and on and on. Listen, that's all we really have to talk.
Kaz was good last year.
Kaz was good last year. Listen, Cal Shell's going to be good too. But either way, I mean, that's really all we got. So, men's hockey starts at 3 with coverage starting at 2:45. Women's hockey starts at 6, coverage going on at 5:45.
Me and Bob's on the call, women's. I'm on the call, men's.
That's right. From all of our APs, technical directors, sub-in tonight, Merrick Patowski, and everyone in the back and the front. We'll see you next week. Thank you for watching. Have a great night.